The right to vote, one of the pillars on which our democracy is built. It's taken for granted by many people in this day and age. Members of Chicago's Ukrainian-American community are exercising their right to vote and to organize in support of a Ukrainian-American candidate running for the Circuit Court of Cook County, Illinois in the March 2012 primary elections.
Sure. I'm glad to be here for my friend Steve Demitro. I encourage not just the Ukrainian community, but everyone to endorse my friend, a very talented, hardworking, intelligent guy who understands what it would take to be a judge and would hit the ground running, do a great job from first day.
I've known Mike for about 25 years, and he plays hockey the same way he engages in as an elected official. He's always hard, giving it everything he got, and he never gives up. It's just amazing the drive that this man has. He is the most honest politician that I've ever met, and I met a few.
Well, I tell you, what's concerning me is we're predicting a record low turnout. Traveling across the world as I get to do now, I visit a lot of countries where people are literally fighting and dying for their freedom, their right to vote, as many of our fellow countrymen have done through the centuries. It's just a shame that people don't exercise this extraordinary right that we have here. Come out to vote. There are several critical races that they should make sure they get out to vote. Vote early in Chicago. They start voting early this coming Monday. Punch 167.
167, he's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Patrick Thompson. I'm a friend of Steve's. I'm also a lawyer, as well as one of Steve's teammates on the lawyers hockey team. So we have many connections. We went to law school together and we've played hockey. I think that this is a great event for Steve. And it really, I think, the friends that are coming together and the people that are coming out for Steve show the best in Steve. Steve is a very fair, honest person. He's a great leader. He's demonstrated that in his life story, and a self-made man. And he's also a humble person, I think, that is important as a judge, to have that humility and also fairness. And ultimately that's what we want from a judge, is to be fair. And I think Steve brings that and will bring that to the bench. So I'm honored to be here supporting Steve, and I look forward to his campaign. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think it's very important for Ukrainian-Americans to get involved in the political process. Ukrainian-Americans are staunch supporters of the democracy and freedom that we enjoy here in the United States, but they also have to get involved in the political process to run for elected office, and especially to go and vote at every election.
The name is Cliff Coral, here to support Steve Demitro, running for Cook County Circuit Court Judge. Steve has been a good friend for a number of years. Played hockey with him. He's an associate member of our Blackhawk Alumni Association. And knowing his character and the type of person he is, I think he'd do an outstanding job as a circuit court judge. So I wish Steve well and get all these good Ukrainian people out to vote for him.
One of the organizations is the Ukrainian-Democratic Organization. Julian Kuyas, who is president, was unable to attend today. But George Panchishan will be reading a letter that he has written in his stead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, elected officials. Dear Steve, the Ukrainian-American Democratic Organization of the state of Illinois is pleased that Ukrainian-American is a candidate for the office of a judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County in the upcoming elections on March 20th, 2012. Please be advised that you have our full endorsement and support. An elected Ukrainian-American official in the mainstream of the American community is a great benefit to the Ukrainian-American community. We call upon all Americans residing in Cook County, Democrats and Republicans alike, to come and vote for you and elect you to the office that you're seeking. Kindly accept our congratulations for seeking an elective office, and may your aspirations be met with success. Julian Niakulas, Chairman of the Board, George Panchishan, President.
It's Paul Banderiewski. He's representing the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America.
Шановна громада, дорогі друзі, Congressman Quigley, honored guests. Today we're here at the Ukrainian Cultural Center to provide moral support for Steve Demitro. Steve is running for the judgeship Steve is someone who I have known for several years to be a person of very high moral and ethical standards. Today, we have an opportunity to again show the strength of the Ukrainian community. In past generations, the Ukrainian voting bloc is a very important bloc here in Chicago and its suburbs. And as a result, was able to elect office. People like Boris Antonovich, Miran Kulas, the Dudich brothers, and a generation has skipped. It's time once again to unite as a community. The first position countywide here in Cook County that a member of the younger generation is running for.
All right, next speaker, I'm happy to introduce Bogdan Vatrai, Chief Executive Officer of Selfreliance Ukrainian Federal Credit Union.
Thank you, Anya. It's really wonderful being here today to see another individual that's deciding to get involved in politics. You know, Ukrainians have been here in this country for over 100 years. And Ukrainian-Americans are staunch supporters of the democracy and freedom that we enjoy here in the United States. Many of them have served in the armed forces. Many of them have laid down their lives for the democracy that we enjoy here in the United States. But not enough of them get involved in the political process. And I'm very grateful that we have the ability here today to see another individual who was born in this country, whose mother came to this country, one of 9 children, an individual who dropped out of high school, but because he lived here in the United States, he had a second chance. He had an opportunity to get his degree, had an opportunity to become an attorney, had an opportunity to be a professional hockey player. And that is just wonderful that a person can come to the United States, can be born in the United States, can come from poverty and be a success. And that is who Steve Demitro is. He really is actually a success story from our Ukrainian-American community, an individual we should all respect and we should all support. We have with us here today as well, we have Congressman Mike Quigley. We also have Pat Thompson, who's running for Reclamation Board. And I don't know if people know that there are people running for the Water Reclamation Board. I know we all have water, but we know that we need to elect people to be in the Water Reclamation Board. And then we also have Cliff Coral from our Ukrainian-American community. He came to the United States from Canada, skated for the Blackhawks, and is a friend of Steve Demitro, who is also a great hockey player in the alumni. I know that he practices often. I'd like to introduce Pat Thompson, who will then introduce Steve Demitro.
Thank you all. As mentioned, my name is Patrick Thompson. I'm also a candidate for Commissioner of the Water Reclamation District. But the reason I'm here is to support my friend Steve Demitro. Steve's story has been told, but I can tell you as a friend of Steve's, as many of us are, I'm very proud to support his candidacy. I'm also an attorney, so I understand the importance of having a judge who has not only the knowledge of the law, but is also fair in the application of that law. And Steve brings that. I think Steve's background, his experience, but outside of his legal experience, his life experience is absolutely critical, because we want to have judges who are fair, honest people, and that's what Steve Demitro brings. So I'm honored today to be here supporting Steve, and we have a connection in that we're neighbors. We grew up together on the south side of Chicago, and we both still live there in the home our parents each built. And I'm just honored to be here as a friend and a supporter of Steve Demitro. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce wonderful Congressman Mike Quigley.
Good afternoon. I come here today first as a friend of Ukraine.
I'm in my third year now, serving in the United States Congress, and that is an extraordinary commitment. I'm part of the Ukraine caucus. There's much to be done to protect Ukraine and to build a relationship between the United States and our ally, and to work with the Ukrainian community here in the city of Chicago. Second, I'm also supporting Patrick Thompson, and encourage you to get out and support him as well. And before I talk about Steve, let me just say something about voting. About 1 out of 5 Chicagoans are going to vote in this election. As I travel the world, that fact dismays me, because we travel to countries where people are fighting and dying for the right to choose who governs them. It's just extraordinary to me. And in this country, the hundreds of thousands who have fought and died for this country so that we might be free, so that we have that right to go out there and vote to determine who makes decisions with our lives, with our money, who decides whether we go to war. These are critical decisions. And, you know, very few people, as it is, decide to get registered to vote. Then of all the people registered to vote in a critical race like this, where we elect congressmen, state representatives, judges, the Supreme Court of Illinois. There's an election for the Supreme Court of Illinois that's based on what you decide. It will affect all of your lives, especially those who don't vote. So elections matter, folks. Tell your friends to get out there, become informed, listen, and cast your God-given right to vote and be an American. Finally, I'm here as a friend of Steve Demitro. A couple things. It's great to see Cliff Coral here and his son, CJ. I played hockey with both of them, played hockey with Pat and with Steve. I think they'll appreciate this more than anything. Steve's a good teammate. I think I've skated 24 or 25 years with Steve. That means something very special to us. It means it's someone you can trust. It means someone who will sacrifice for you. And I think it's hard to hide the kind of person you are when you're out there. When the going gets tough, the true person comes out. And that's been true a long time for Steve. When I was in law school, I was in constitutional law, the second year of constitutional law. I had a brilliant professor. And we were in the middle of a discussion one day that made me think about this election and about judges. And the professor put up his hands and said, let's just remember what this is all about. Forgetting all the books and all the years of learning you've had to get to law school and to pass classes in law school and to become an attorney and pass the bar and to be experienced enough to become a judge. He said, just do what's right. Just do what's just. At that point, I felt like I had wasted my money going to law school. But it is the essence of what you should be thinking about when you vote for judges. It's about who's going to be fair, who's going to be honest, who's going to work hard at the job. The issues that come before judges are complicated, but you can figure them out. In the end, are you honest enough, fair enough, independent enough to recognize what's the right thing to do? That's why I'm excited to support Steve. As an attorney, I always knew if I had a judge I was practicing in front of that had an open mind, who would work hard to figure out the issues, and he was fair, he or she was fair, I felt fine. I didn't care anything else about that judge. So these races matter. Races for judge make a tremendous difference in all of our lives. We live in a free and democratic society, but we are measured by how just we are. And the groundwork of that are our judges. So while we don't always pay attention to how they're selected, they're critical. They are the essence of liberty and what this country is all about. So that's why I'm supporting my friend and teammate, the next judge of Cook County, Steve Demitro.
Thank you, everybody, for coming here this afternoon. I'm one of 9 children born to immigrant parents who didn't speak any English, yet worked very hard to raise their large family. I started my adult life as a high school dropout. And with a few breaks and a lot of hard work, I completed my GED, finished college, and graduated from law school. With the experiences I've obtained during several diverse positions in my life, with my legal knowledge, my integrity, and my commitment to the rule of law, I believe I would be an asset to the Circuit Court of Cook County. My diverse background has taught me a great deal about people and their need for a fair and impartial justice. I will treat all people who appear before me with kindness, with courtesy, and most of all, with dignity. There are two reasons I'm running for judge. One is I believe I would be a good judge. The second reason, as Mike and Paul pointed out, is to engage a community to vote together. We have not been able, in the Ukrainian community, to vote together for a generation, about 25 years. Famous Ukrainian poet said, "It's a terrible thing to fall into chains and die in captivity, but worse it is to sleep, to sleep, to sleep in liberty." We must engage in the election process. And I'm not talking about this election only. I'm talking about every single election, election after election after election. We have to get involved. Make no mistakes, this is going to be a very difficult race. Based on the last 25 years of history, there are probably people out there who are betting the Ukrainians will not get out and vote. Let's prove them wrong. I like being the underdog. It's worked well for me. The voter turnout, like Congressman Quigley said, is going to be very low this election. But we have some help. The Ukrainian community has some help. I've been endorsed by the Chicago Federation of Labor, which is 320 unions, 500,000 working men and women. I've been endorsed by the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, Chicago Lodge 7. I've been endorsed by the Chicago Firefighters Union. If we play as a team together, we can win.
It was a Ukrainian poet that said, "It is a tragedy to live in chains, to die in captivity, but much worse to sleep in liberty."